Glaucoma Awareness Month, veterinarians remind us that it is important to check on your furry friend's health as well. KLTV7's Lauren Tier spoke with an East Texas vet about recognizing and managing the disease that is common in dogs as well.
Glaucoma in dogs, similar to glaucoma in people, is a painful buildup of pressure in the eye. Dr. Taylor Lovell of the Tyler Animal Emergency Hospital says there are two forms.
It can actually be a primary disease where you actually have glaucoma itself, where you have a buildup of fluid in the eye, but it can also be a secondary cause,
including inflammation or scar tissue from trauma and underlying diseases such as cancer. Treatment plans vary depending on the advancement of the disease and what is causing it.
It's a progressive disease, so it's really just medical management and trying to manage the symptoms of it the best you can.
Symptoms include pain and loss of vision. Dr. Lovell says the three main goals of treatment are to, of course, manage the pain, but also to reduce the pressure and help the dog retain vision.
Sometimes, and this sounds weird, but even taking out the eye is beneficial for the patient. And we also find that once they recover from that surgery, they're actually a lot happier because they don't have that constant pain there.
But most treatment starts with eye drops. Glaucoma is most commonly diagnosed in middle-aged to older dogs. Some breeds are predisposed to the disease.
The different dog breeds would be like a basset hound. Sometimes it can be our beagles actually have a genetic trait that can lead them to develop glaucoma, and even like our chow chows and things like that.
Dr. Lovell recommends bringing your dogs in for yearly or bi-yearly checkups to catch the symptoms of glaucoma early. Lauren Tier, KLTV 7 News.
And according to the American Kennel Club, other breeds that carry a hereditary predisposition are Akitas, Siberian Huskies, and Cocker Spaniels.